Hello, it's Pastor Penny, and it's Thursday, August 20th, and so since Friday's my Sabbath, I'm going to give you some insights, some preview of my sermon on Sunday. So, of course, you're all coming to hear that. And this week will be about Jesus feeding the 5,000. And so you probably all know the story, but there's a lot more to it under the surface than many people realize. For instance, being fed. What does being fed mean? Of course, we have to be fed to nourish our bodies, to live and to live a healthy life. And we come to church to, or gather as Christians to be spiritually fed. But I read a blog recently, yesterday, and it was written by a chef who has a website, and it's called Not Without Salt. And she talks about how she was recently in the hospital, and so when she got home and she was recovering, she had to let her husband do the cooking, and she had to be served. And it was difficult for her at first. She had to do it because she was recovering from something, and it was humbling. She had to sit at the table and let someone serve her, and it was totally out of her element. She was the one always in control in the kitchen. She was the one who brought the food to everyone and said, "Look what I made for you." Food is love in so many cases. And I talk a little bit about that in the sermon coming up. And so it was very interesting. She was talking about how we need to allow other people to be in control and to feed us. Maybe for women who just had a baby, maybe you experienced a death in the family or a great loss. Maybe you're just burned out and you're at the end of being able to handle things in your life, and maybe you can't, it's impossible to take a break right then. And so it's important to be fed and to be grateful, to let someone else feed you, and to enjoy it, to allow yourself to enjoy it, and to realize that this is a way that you're resting. And just the same way that this woman, this chef, expresses her love through food, and many, many people do, you need to receive love from others, when they cook and when they feed you. It correlates with God feeding us spiritually. And do we allow that? Are we letting God? Or are we being in control, or are we letting God be in control? Because if you like to be in control, it's even more difficult to give your cares to God. 1 Peter, I think 5. Cast your cares to God because he cares for you, or something similar. Can you do that? Can you sit and allow God to just be in control and take your problems and your issues and your heart, and let him have them, and so that he can give you some peace and love? Everything boils down to love. Giving and receiving love. It's what the gospel is about. It's what being fed and feeding is about. So when you hear the story on Sunday about Jesus feeding the 5,000, think of all the other implications that this story has. So blessings, and I'll see you Sunday.